What's good, George? Mute! Let's go, champ! What it do, Dragon Leg? Chain with ice! Gold Squad! What's poppin', Los? Fight Cruz! What it do with the folk? What's up, Die Hard? You already know what it is. What it do with the folk, man? Shout out to the Reaper Gang and the whole NBBC, man. What it do with the folk, man? You already know what it is, man. It's your boy, DT3. What it do? What the business is? What's poppin' with everybody, man? I'm here bringing it to you with Boxing Talk 149. We almost at Boxing Talk 150s. I just want to slide y'all with this quick little talk real quick because I'm really not feeling what your boy Floyd Mayweather is talking about here lately. And I'm rested to want to shine some light on this Usyk-Chisora scenario. Yada da boo boo. So just wanted to, come to y'all and give y'all what I thought about what was going on. You feel me? So Boom Tank laughed when they asked today if he's making 130. Look, man, I'm gonna tell y'all right here, right now. I was trying to call my boy D Jeff. Shout out to my boy D Jeff, Speaking My Sports Talk. I was trying to call him to get him on the live because I watched a good percentage of his live, and I didn't agree with the sense of fact that I hear what he's saying pertaining to Tank Davis being in shape, and he's in good shape. I don't deny that, but understand this. Just because Tank is in shape, that don't mean Tank will not get tired or he will not gas out. There has been fights, I cannot recall which particular fight it was, but there has been a particular fight where Tank has stated in the corner of that fight that he was getting fatigued, and he didn't understand why he was getting fatigued because he trained so hard. Well, I'm here to tell y'all right here, right now, as a person that is a trainer and a person that has competed and is willing to still compete as a fighter in the fight game, you have to do pretty much damn near everything right. It's not just about working hard in your training. It's also about your eating. You got to eat right. You got to eat the right shit. You got to rest right. If you're not resting right, you're not eating right, I don't give a damn how hard you're training. You will still fatigue in the fight. What's up, SA? What's up, Intangible? So, the fact that, I wouldn't say Neofimo that he would be overtraining. I wouldn't say that, Fight News. But it is true. Overtraining is real. But I don't think Tank is doing that. But what I do think is that Tank can still fight stupid. Even though he's in tremendous shape, he can still not fight a smart fight. And it can still be taken into deep waters if Leo Santa Cruz fights the smart fight. What's up, Willie boy? If Leo Santa Cruz fights the smart fight, he can take him into deep waters. But see, Fight News, I don't think he was in as good of shape for Gamboa as he is for this fight. I think he underestimated Gamboa. I really think he thought Gamboa, he was going to go through Gamboa, and that didn't happen. Who I'm picking to win? I'm picking Tank. I'm talking my shit, but I'm picking Tank. I'm talking my shit, James Bond, but I'm picking Tank. I'm just saying because based on what I saw in D Jeff live stream, I didn't get to address him on it. I was gonna call him and holler at him about it, but I'm just gonna speak on it here. And I'm just saying that I don't agree with that particular stance that he won't gas out. He can still gas out. He can still tire out, and Leo can still take him into deep waters and still show something. But I also understand that, in particular with Leo Santa Cruz, his punch output was not as high as it was when he's fought at 126 pounds, which is facts. What's up, Banks? What are you doing, my nigga? So, let me tell you something. I will agree with that fight news if he don't knock out Leo Santa Cruz. If Tank Davis does not stop Leo Santa Cruz, I will agree with that. I will say his power is overrated because Tank is a very accurate puncher. He's not going to hit you with nothing stupid. He's not just throwing shit just to throw shit. So the punches that he's going to be hitting Leo Santa Cruz with is going to be real sharp, crisp, raw punches. What's up with that guy? So if Leo stands up to that for 12 rounds, his power ain't all what you think it is. And I get it. You can also argue that Leo Santa Cruz got a great chin and he got good heart. But at the same time, if Tank power is that much as great as people are saying is, to where you are comparing it to the greats of Mike Tyson, he should knock out Leo Santa Cruz. It's no disrespect to Leo. I respect Leo as the multiple weight champion that he is. I respect him for that. But if Tank is who everybody's saying Tank is, he should knock out Leo Santa Cruz. He should knock him out. And if he don't knock out Leo Santa Cruz, a guy that has moved up pretty much a whole weight class to fight you, your power is overrated. You're not as physically imposing as your followers are saying you are. So that's all I'm saying. Intangible, you still in the building? I'm going ahead and slide up on the panel, bro. You hardly ever slide up on the panel. So why don't you slide your ass up on this panel? Let's get some boxing talk up in this bitch. Come on, Intangible. Talk some boxing with your boy. It's been a while anyway. What's up with it? That's kind of an insult, though. Fight news. Zab Judah fought everybody. You got, man, let me have to talk to you behind the scenes and give you some boxing shit going on with your boy, because Zab Judah fought everybody. Zab fought everybody. He even went overseas to fight Costa Zoo. Even though he lost, but still. I wouldn't compare Tank to no Zab, because Zab ain't making motherfuckers move up in weight to fight him. Zab is the motherfucker that's moving up in weight to fight people. Zab is my guy, bro. I was a big fan of Zab early in his career. I was so happy when he fought Floyd. I picked Zab before the fight. I always felt that Zab was the one that was going to beat Floyd. Nobody was going to beat Floyd but Zab Judah. That was my thing before Zab lost to Floyd. Zab was the only one that was going to beat Floyd Mayweather. I mean, if Tank puts him in the fear mode, what's up, chat? I'm hollering my boy Chet. If Tank puts Leo in a state where he makes him gun shy, then I don't know how only way he could out hustle Tank is that he will have to not be afraid of him getting hit. He has to get over that. Period. He has to be able to deal with whatever Tank got, because this ain't Abner Morris. Abner Morris, he stood in the pocket. He can stay in the pocket with Abner Morris, but for him to out hustle Tank, he got to stay in the pocket and take some heat. And I don't think he's going to be stupid enough to do that. What's up, Tangible?
Yo, how's it going?
I mean, what do you think? Do you think he could out hustle him, or do you think that he'll be able to deal with Tank power? Because that's the only way he'll be able to out hustle him is if he's able to deal with his power, because that's why he out hustled Abner Morris.
Even if he takes Tank's power, I think the eye-catching nature and the heavy nature of Tank's shots will win Tank rounds anyways. and him having the superior speed and the strength, even if Leo has the ability to take his shots, Leo is not going to land anything coming back that would suggest that he's doing better work in the rounds, I would say. I think that Leo will win rounds in the fight before the stoppage. I'm thinking Tank wins by about round 8. I think Leo will win a couple of rounds because of the fact solely because Tank does tend to take rounds off, and I do think he will get a little bit tired at some point in the fight. I mean, against Gamboa, he took rounds off. Against Pedraza, he took rounds off. Against Fonseca, he took rounds off. Anytime he tends to go rounds, anything past about 6 rounds, he takes rounds off. I think it's going to be the same in this fight, but I think regardless of that, he's going to come back on and wear down Leo and stop him regardless.
Mm-hmm. I don't see Leo being able to stand up to him, hitting him like that for 12 rounds. Because Tank is hitting you with reckless abandon. He's in shape and he wants to fight. And people fail to realize, regardless of Tank's lack of discipline, Tank can fight. Dude can fight.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the most disciplined guy either. But the guy can fight. He can put up on a scrap with anybody. You know what I mean?
I'm actually one of the few people I actually do rate Gervonta Davis's skills. I rate his overall boxing ability. I think to some degree his lack of discipline has sort of had him decline in certain areas. I think his feet are he's a bit lazy with his footwork. He tends to drag his back foot on his way in, doesn't cut the ring off that effectively. And I think his weaknesses are a bit more glaring since in some fights he's starting to look a bit more flat and a bit slow.
So what do you think his main weakness
Regardless,
is?
I mean, I don't know. I do rate his overall ability, to be honest.
I think it's the lack of head movement. I think he doesn't move his head enough. I think once you get Tank in a point where he wants to just constantly engage and throw punches and bunches, I think he's going to get caught. He's going to be that fighter that if you're good enough, you can catch him in between punches, or he's the fighter that when you hit him, he can't take it. Like once you hit him, he got to get back so bad. He's not going to have the discipline to be patient and pick his shots to kind of, basically wear you down. He doesn't know how to get hit and say, okay, I got hit. I took that. All right, I got hit. I took that. The fighters that he fight are not really touching him up too much. I mean, Gamboa touched him, but I mean, when I say touch him up, I mean hitting him to where you're saying, ooh, like you're saying, ooh, when Tank is hitting shit. I haven't seen nobody hit Tank with the same velocity that Tank is hitting people with. And I think when Tank start getting hit like that, that's when Tank is going to say, pretty much go into Wilder mode. He's going to say, fuck all this boxing shit. I'm finna take this shit to the street. And I think that's where he's going to lose when he fight a fighter of a better IQ.
Yeah, I just don't think Leo possesses that. But I also don't think Leo has never boxed and moved on his way to a decision. Like in the Frampton fight, he was using his jab a bit more, right? But it's not like the second one I'm talking about. It's not like he was just standing on the outside in the second fight, just jabbing, moving away. He was exchanging a lot in the pocket. That's where he actually found his success with power shots. He was exchanging with him in the pocket, timing him with power shots, and outworking Frampton from there. His jab was definitely a factor, no doubt about it. But that's what I see. And I don't think he's just going to stand out. I don't think he's just going to stand outside against Gervonta Davis either, because he has to be prompted to reset his feet. It's not like he's going to move around and willingly use the ring space, if you know what I mean. He kind of goes through the motions when it comes to his movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think he's going to do that. I don't think he's going to be able to stay there and just keep Tank on the end of his punches and the end of it. I just don't think he's going to be able to do that. I think Tank has seen that style too many times to where in a fight he's going to let Leo do that to him. I just don't see that happening to Tank. I just don't. I just see Tank really just pretty much breaking him down as the fight go on and getting it over with within 8. I don't see it even going to the championship rounds at all. I don't. I really don't see that. What's up, L-Dog? Hey, why don't you slide your ass up on here, L-Dog? Talks of boxing.
I also just don't really rate Leo at 130, to be honest.
I don't rate him at 130 either. I don't think he's a true 130 pounder. I think he's a 126 pounder. I think he should pretty much stay there. I had the same issue with Chocolatito. I mean, his style stylistically, I think he should have stayed at the weight where he could dominate with that style, because that style is not going to work against bigger opposition, because of course they hit fucking harder, so you're not going to be able to take those punches as well as you was in the weight class you fought prior.
I mean, I would say in that case, like, look, Chocolatito is dominating everybody under 112 or under 115. At 115, guys are competing with him. I mean, he still beat Carlos Cuadras, who was considered the number one guy in the division.
Mm.
You know, he still beat Cal Yafai. He just met his match with Rungvisai, and he still arguably won the first fight. I think he's definitely more vulnerable at 115, but there were more names at the division at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Estrada would subsequently move up in 2017, fight Cuadras as well. Rungvisai was up there. There were just more names up there for Chocolatito to fight.
Mm.
Although Estrada was still at 112 by the time he moved up. But, you know.
You see him fighting the third time? You see him fighting the third time?
What'd you say?
You see Chocolatito and Estrada fighting again?
Yeah. Actually, they're expected to fight early on next year.
Who you got?
I don't really know. It's too tough to call, but I'll go with Chocolatito since that's one of my favorites.
Going with Estrada.
Understandable.
And at first, I was with you. I was going with Chocolatito until I talked to fucking Two Hands. He fucked it up. But he basically, I just think that, and even seeing Estrada's last fight, his boxing skills is a lot better, and I don't think he's going to stay there and let Chocolatito bang on him like that. I think he's going to try to keep him at distance, keep him at bay, and I think he's going to wait and be a little more accurate with his punches. I think he's going to land the more significant punches. I think Chocolatito is going to run into a lot of shit that he shouldn't run into.
He has the ability to do that, but I don't necessarily think that's quite Estrada's style. Estrada likes to actually stand in the pocket and counter from there. He tends to admire his work a bit too much, which is why I give Chocolatito the chance that I do.
Mm.
He tends to remain in the pocket after his combinations and get caught with stuff that he shouldn't get caught with. Like against Cuadras, he was moving straight back, got caught with the uppercut. So defensively, I mean, Chocolatito is phenomenal at being able to capitalize after combinations and tag you at the end of your shots and counter you from there.
Gotcha. What's up, Ron?
Hey, what's good, DT3?
What's popping with you, man? Good afternoon.
I'm not trying to come in and try to take over nothing. I just want to hop on and say hi to you, bro, and just listen, just head the knowledge, bro.
For sure. Good looking. But I think Estrada, you right with Estrada, because I saw that in his last fight. Like, he was just really trying to bang with dude, and I think he just broke dude down. But I think he had to fight that fight with him because dude had a longer reach. He was more rangier, so he couldn't. I don't think there was no way for him to outbox him. You feel what I'm saying? And I think he had to fight that fight versus Chocolatito being the smaller of the two. And it would be smarter for him to fight that fight. But I also agreed. I think that once he gets caught, once the fight gets going, Estrada it's just going to be like 2 rounds. But I think in the beginning, if he fights smart, I think that'll be the best way to fight. But I do agree with the fact that as the fight go on, it'll turn into a barn burner.
Y'all talking about the rematch?
Yeah, Estrada and Chocolatito.
Oh, man, though. He looked good the other night, Estrada, right?
Yeah. He looked cool his last fight. He ended up he stopped his last opponent. He stopped him.
Yeah, I walked him.
It was a lovely night of fights. But I do still think that Estrada could get Chocolatito. I think that he's been in. Also, I think Chocolatito been in too many wars. I think he been in too many battles. You know what I mean? I think
thought Chocolatito was on steroids the other night, bro. Like he was pressing dude hard. He ran through that dude he was fighting. Who was he fighting, bro?
Israel Gonzalez. Yeah, I think
Israel Gonzalez. Yeah.
I think Chocolatito. I think the main reason why I give Estrada the chance that I do in this case is Chocolatito is a bit slower than he used to be. His reflexes aren't quite the same. His stamina isn't quite the same. Like in round 3, I even noticed as early as round 3, he was taking portions of the round off because he was expending so much energy, moving back and forth, rolling, slipping, and constantly countering. He is just such an active fighter, not just with his punch output, but
just movement, everything about it, his whole game.
Like it's exhausting to move your upper body back and forth and side to side for 12 straight rounds the way Chocolatito does. Never mind doing that in combination with throwing combinations.
Agreed. What's up, Mark?
Hello. How's it going?
Nothing much. We cooking on Chocolatito and Estrada. We go on. Who you got? Since we saying that fight is a possibility of happening sometime next year. Who you
Oh,
got?
no, hold on. It ain't a possibility. Eddie Hearn said that's signed. They're just waiting on the venue and the date. It's actually signed.
Who you got?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. Wow.
It's a 50-50.
Yeah, that
It's
is
a
kind of
50-50.
amazing. Mark don't
It's-
know.
It's a 50-50. It's a legit 50-50. I mean, I hear what y'all are saying, right? About
Mhm.
Chocolatito slowing down, looking a little bit slower and pumping for air a little bit more. But also, I'm seeing new things with Estrada. Estrada's weight distribution doesn't look like normal. People say, well, that's ring rust. I don't think so. I think it's part and parcel of the surgery. I see that he's throwing his arms a little bit different than how he used to as well. The other thing that's kind of bothering me a little bit when it comes to Estrada is his own energy levels. I mean, yeah, he managed to get into that fight, but he was kind of puffing for air a little bit too. I think both these. I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be way better than the first fight. I
Yep.
think this
Yep.
second fight could end in a late stoppage and could very well be one of the greatest fights we'll watch in lower weight boxing ever. I really do. The way they're both fighting, Estrada's more reckless abandonment. And people need to remember, Chocolatito, yeah, he cuts the ring off a lot and he's following this dude around the ring. Estrada doesn't run around the ring like Israel Gonzalez does. He's not as fast moving around the ring as he is.
That was a good fight, yo. I watched the fight. I can't break it down like technically like y'all how y'all do, but I remember Israel like having like a certain reach, but then he couldn't like. I just looked at like Chocolatito like powering through his ass, like it was crazy. It was nice. Like, it was good. Like how Israel tried to fight him, but like Chocolatito was like just making him bend the knee in a lot of ways. Like you know what I mean?
It's that relentless pressure, man. Like Chocolatito is. I remember HBO. A lot of y'all don't remember when Chocolatito fought on HBO. I remember that Chocolatito. That was my guy. I
Let me
rocked with him.
say something about that.
Go ahead.
I want to talk about Chocolatito on HBO. A lot of people only started really watching him when he got there, and he only had like 5-6 fights there, right?
Yeah.
And then he lost to Kit Kat, Serge Gasser, Wrong Visoi, and people were like, "Oh, this dude's a hype job." But this dude already had a Hall of Fame career before he even got to HBO.
Yep. Yep.
His resume is fire. It's straight fire. And it's kind of sad that people just disrespect him like that because he lost to Wrong Visoi. Everyone's like, oh, he lost to Wrong Visoi. He ain't shit. He's lost to one fighter in his whole career. This dude's had 52 fights. Only one dude's beaten him.
Yeah. And the cool part about it is a lot of people don't even know who Rungasai is.
Yep. Yep.
They don't even know who he is.
A lot of people don't.
And all of a sudden, they just want to hype it up just to say, "Oh, he lost to this guy." Do you even know who Rungasai is? Do you know who he is? You have any idea? And they don't.
We try to forget that fight, DT3, but that was a fight where Chocolatito really was like in a war, yo. He was in a real war, yo.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like I saw that it was a 15-round fight, right?
Yeah. No, it wasn't 15 rounds. They been stopped doing 15 rounds. They stopped doing that in the 80s.
I just remember that fight though. I remember that fight though, because Chocolatito got knocked the fuck out. He got knocked out, right? In that fight.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible though how Chocolatito's been able to compete with guys at 115. Like it takes a lot of skills for an inside fighter to really be able to compete and outwork and out hustle guys close up against guys who are bigger and stronger than them. It takes like an extremely talented inside fighter.
Yeah.
Like most people moving up, especially forget a natural straw weight, but a guy moving up from 112 getting inside on Rungvisai would be a death sentence.
Yeah. It was a war, yo. I remember
it was because Rungasai's style, people don't realize that Rungasai he's a Muay Thai dude that transitioned to boxing. A lot of Muay Thai guys do that over there, and he made a decent career for himself in boxing. But he still has that natural Muay Thai technical, pretty much high guard, stay in the pocket, because in Muay Thai, that's what you are doing. You in the pocket Ain't no moving around footwork. You in the pocket the whole 5 rounds of the fight. So he still has the mentality of that, and he still has more so the skill set of the Muay Thai fighter, but he just incorporates boxing with it. And
Okay.
hell of a dude, bro. Hell of a dude.
Yeah.
Why you think? Well, y'all don't. Well, Mark probably know, but a lot of y'all don't know. That's why the Senchai is such a great Muay Thai kickboxer. It ain't because he was doing just Muay Thai. He has, I think, 2 losses in boxing, I think, but he has over 300 Muay Thai fights.
That's a fight that everybody need to watch before the weekend start, like a Rungvisai versus fucking Chocolatito fight.
And like
Real
people
talk.
don't realize that Rungvisai broke Floyd Mayweather's record. Don't nobody give Rungvisai his credit for that shit.
Crazy. Yo, that's
Which
a real
record?
fight.
The Floyd Mayweather's record. He broke the 50-0 shit.
No, that's Wayne Hangman Yothin. That's not Usyk-Chisora Rungvisai. Usyk-Chisora Rungvisai actually started off his career, I think, 1-3.
Yeah, that's one Hangman Otto who's past Floyd. But remember, Floyd's record isn't going 50-0 or anything like that. Floyd's record is doing it.
Floyd's record is fucking trash, bro.
No, hold on. The record Floyd has is going. Floyd's record is going 50-0 and then retiring 50-0.
That last 3 fights was garbage, bro. I respected him with the 6 fights that he did, but the last 3 was garbage, bro.
Well, like I said, my only gripe with Floyd was how he was talking about it's too many belts, but at the same time, he was one of the people that benefited from all these belts when he was fighting in his career, and yet still he knew about it being all these belts, and that didn't stop him from doing the same thing with Tank either.
What's one of Floyd's biggest claims?
He should have fought Keith Thurman to end his career. He should have fought Keith Thurman, in my opinion.
What was you saying, Mark?
What's one of Floyd's biggest claims? I've beaten more current or former world champions than anybody, yada, yada, right?
Yeah, that's his claim.
Yeah. Would he have that claim, right? If it was a 2-belt era? No.
There were
You can essentially cut half of his world titles in half. You can cut it in half. You can cut the amount of champions in half.
Mark, would you agree that Floyd Mayweather, when he got the super diamond belt or whatever he was when he fought Canelo, but before he fought Canelo, he should have fought Keith Thurman, and he would have cemented that belt back then if he would have fought Keith Thurman when he backed out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, that was Floyd's downfall when he didn't fight Keith Thurman.
I mean, for me, I'm not going to put Keith Thurman as an asterisk on a resume that has wins over Manny Pacquiao, Canelo, Shane Mosley, and shit like that. And in all honesty, Keith Thurman becomes literally negligible on that resume. And that's like, who is Keith Thurman compared to Canelo?
Yeah, who is Keith Thurman compared to Oscar De La Hoya, Sugar Shane Mosley, Zab Judah? I mean, Miguel Cotto,
Corrales.
Right, Diego Corrales.
Like who is this dude?
But you know what?
I'll tell you what he is.
But Keith Thurman was like Diego Corrales 2.0 when Floyd could have retired. Like, he could have been like the 2.0 of Corrales to me. You know what I mean?
No, Keith Thurman was not a champion at any point in Floyd's career. He was the WBA interim titleist. Corrales was the IBF reigning champion at the weight class. Thurman.
If Floyd had to beat Thurman at the time, right?
Respect intangibles.
If he had to beat Keith at the time, what would have happened is Floyd beat a prospect who wasn't even a champion. He don't matter.
Because that's what he was at the time. That's all he was. He was pretty much like some who could I think of right now?
He was an up and coming contender at that point. Like, he had beaten Diego Chavez and Guerrero in like early 2015, but I mean,
they were past it.
That's like Virgil Ortiz right now calling out Errol Spence, and Errol Spence doesn't fight Danny Garcia, he fights Virgil Ortiz.
I actually don't think it's like Virgil. I think it's closer to like someone like Abdul Kakarov.
That's just fact.
No, I know, but at the same time, Abdul Kakarov was supposed to be the interim champion.
Right.
All that crap.
Right.
In terms of skill level, yeah, we'll go with Virgil.
I would just say skill wise, I say Virgil, but and I'm just saying in the sense Virgil is a prospect and he's a high, people I think highly of him as a prospect. But Errol Spence ain't finna not fight Danny Garcia, or maybe even Terrence Crawford. He's not finna pass that. If you had a choice between Errol Spence fighting Terrence Crawford or Virgil Ortiz, you're gonna say fight Terrence Crawford. If he picks Virgil Ortiz over Terrence Crawford, you're gonna say he ducking. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the same thing would go if he was to even Keith Thurman. If you said if you picked Virgil Ortiz over Keith Thurman, you would say he was ducking Keith Thurman because Virgil Ortiz is a prospect.
Look, what would you give this? This is the way I look at it. What would you give Errol Spence more credit for? Right? Would you give him more credit for beating Jermell Charlo or Jaron Ennis? Jermell. Obviously.
A lot more.
Going up in weight, fighting a unified champion, or taking on a prospect coming up.
That's a big money fight on Rival. That's a big money fight right there.
Yeah. Big money
What,
fight.
Errol LaBelle?
Yeah.
Well, you know what though? They don't want to do that though. They don't want to understand that sweet science right there.
It's
like,
not
I
about
would
that.
rather see that.
It's not about that now. It's about money. It's about money. It ain't about really, really
Legendary
fighting
status.
better dude.
Legendary status.
It ain't about that. It's about let me get to the bag. You know what I'm saying? Type shit. But yeah. But I don't think that Floyd saying what he said about being too many belts. I think that's pretty inaccurate for him to say based on how he went about his career and also how he went about his career, how he's going about Tank Davis's career. And then Marcelio Suleiman evidently don't got a problem with it being a franchise champion and another world champion like how we got with Teofimo and Devin Haney. He doesn't mind that.
Bro, Floyd's right. There are too many belts. However, Floyd's being hypocritical saying that. That's the problem with this.
Right.
The problem.
Yeah.
It's the only problem.
That is literally, it's like, you right, but you being a hypocrite at the same time. So.
Floyd was like the most strategic person when it comes to like figuring out what a fight really looks like. Like he was the most strategic person at figuring that out. He fought Ricky Hatton. He fought like certain people, and he did it the right way. And I think that's what these guys are trying to figure out, like how to go about making a super fight. But like Tank is going backwards to me. He's not really going forward. You see what I'm saying?
Well, they fight for Tank is the money man. If you want
that fight shouldn't be on pay-per-view though. That should have been on regular Fox. If you want to build a pay-per-view star, build them on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Because there isn't any superstars around. All you've got in America right now is Canelo. He's the only star. What, you're gonna have Tank fight Canelo? You need to build.
Canelo
you need to make people.
Cinco de Mayo though a rival. He gave up Cinco de Mayo. How do you give up Cinco de Mayo?
Because of a pandemic.
He gave it up before the pandemic.
Because of the pandemic, he was going to fight Billy Joe Saunders on Cinco de Mayo.
I wanted to see that ass whooping.
Eddie Hearn even said they were 2 days away from announcing it, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I wanted to see that ass whooping so bad. I couldn't wait to see that shit. I was like, how was he gonna juice himself out of that one, Billy Joe?
Who you think gonna get the Cinco de Mayo date back though? Because I feel like Jermell Charlo can actually fight anybody right now. Anybody.
Ain't
nobody's taking that date from Canelo. If he fights on Cinco de Mayo, you might as well just book another weekend, mate. That's his.
That's all Nelly about right there. You ain't getting that. I can tell you that right now. So, what do you think about this whole little? I'm asking this to Unrivaled. What do you think about the whole Undisputed thing with Teofimo? They saying he fought for Undisputed, but then they also saying it's an asterisk, and then Devin Haney actually being the world champion. What do you think about that? Do you think
I played the fifth?
Undisputed?
I played the fifth.
Oh shit! Unrivaled played the fifth. That's weird.
The situation's really weird, man. I mean, look, if Teofimo was, let's say Teofimo, he's the undisputed champion, right? And he decided to defend his title against Tulani Mbenge, right? Or the WBC, not Mbenge. Who's that other dude? Who's over there? The WBO ranked guy.
To go.
Emmanuel to go. Thank you. So Emmanuel to go. If he were to defend against Emmanuel to go, is the WBC franchise going to be on the line in that fight? No, it's not, because they won't recognize Emmanuel to go as being worth that belt. So in that case scenario, only 3 belts would be on the line, right? So that's not an undisputed title defense, But when it's Tiafimo fighting against Lomachenko, they'll go, okay, well, we'll recognize him for it. Yet at the same point, the WBC recognized the WBC franchise title as their main title at lightweight, which is what the WBA had to do when Carl Froch fought against Kessler with Andre Ward when he was holding it. So it's kind of like it is undisputed and it's not undisputed. So I understand undisputed asterisks.
Man, that's why I listen.
This is my way of
That's
doing
why I
it.
listen
He's
to
the lineal.
Unrivaled, yo. 'Cause he
He's the
talk like
lineal
a lot of
champion.
shit.
He's the lineal champion. That's what he is.
The way I see it, I don't even really care about it anymore. The fact is, the number 1 and number 2 lightweights fought, and Tiafimo prevailed. That's it. Tiafimo's the best lightweight. It doesn't really matter what Suleiman says. Until Haney fights Tiafimo or someone like that, he's not the best. He's not the champion.
We need to see Ryan and have Devin and also Ryan, Devin, and them young boys and Tank mix it up. They can't see TFO right now.
They're not trying to do that, man. They don't really want to fight.
Ain't it crazy that people are like,
They think we stupid,
Tiafimo ain't shit. He ain't undisputed. Oh, I didn't beat Devin Haney. This man is, at the very least, a 3-belt Ring Magazine lineal champion who's beaten a top 5 consensus pound for pounder at the age of 23, and you're saying he ain't shit?
No, he not shit, Unrivaled. He ain't a motherfucking
That's
thing.
crazy. This kid's achieved fucking epicness, man.
In 15 fights.
Yo,
16
16 fights.
Lomo just got handed his ass to him by a young boy who took the fucking task to hand. TFO is top dog.
Yeah. Haney and Ryan need to fight each other at some point. That's kind of just how I see it. Haney's going to fight Gamboa, of course, but he and Ryan need to mix it up at some point. Although I don't know if DAZN is going to be willing to sacrifice one or the other. Because if Haney wins, then Ryan's stock precipitously drops. If Ryan wins, Haney, I don't think his stock drops as much, but I don't think it's necessarily ideal at the same time. But if they do fight, that's probably one of the best prospect matchups. That's excellent. I'd have to give Eddie Hearn his props.
You know what I think is going to
guys,
happen?
where y'all gonna be at this weekend, bro? We gonna watch a lot of super fights this weekend. Y'all gotta come to places where as though we building boxing up. Go to fight parties, yo. We got time, bro.
Well, I'm gonna be at work this weekend, so that's why I don't be able to do that live commentary because I be at work when the fights. I work on the weekend, but my take is on this. I don't think Haney is gonna fight Tiafimo at 135 pounds. I think if they were to fight, it's going to be at 140 pounds. That's when I think they're going to fight. I don't think they're going to fight for all the marbles at 35. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I got a funny feeling they're going to find a way to get around it. I could tell Tiafimo want to fight everybody, but I think when Tiafimo really start putting pressure on certain people, I don't see it happening at 35. I see it maybe possibly happening for him at 40, but at the same time, I don't see Tiafimo getting past, the winner of either Josh Taylor or Jose Ramirez. I just don't see him getting past either one of those guys. I think Josh Taylor, he showed me a lot also because I had watched him fight Prograde a second time. I actually watched that fight round by round more thoroughly, and I saw what Two Hands was talking about. And Josh Taylor is, he really showed that he's going to stand in there with the guy that y'all said that could knock him out, and he can't stand there and punch with, and he did, and he didn't have to, and he has the skill to where he don't have to do that. So I see him fighting Tiafimo. That's easy work, and I see Josh Taylor just being relentless, putting up too much fucking pressure. He ain't gonna be able to stand up to that, and he's gonna be like Nakatani 2.0, except he ain't gonna get no breaks.
I did some film study the other day. I could see Haney losing to both Ryan and Tiafimo.
How you see him losing to Ryan, though?
Oh, hell no. Not Ryan.
Not
Ricky Martin, bro. Ricky Martin?
Ryan,
so Haney going to lose to Ricky Martin.
Ryan don't got a jab, Intangible. Now, if he had a jab, okay, I'm going to go ahead, Intangible. Tell me your take on it.
God damn, bro.
I do think he actually has a little bit better jab than he used to, and I think Haney would definitely capitalize by landing on Ryan's body because he's wide open. But Ryan is very fast and dangerous. He's much better on the front foot than on the back foot. And is Haney really going to get his respect? Is Haney really going to get Ryan's respect? I don't know.
Are they 3-2 intangibles? Is Haney and Ryan like 3-2? Like as far as wins?
In the amateurs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only reason why it's funny when people say they don't count the amateurs, and that upsets me when they say that, because Vernon Forrest beat Shane Mosley in the amateurs, and everybody thought Shane Mosley was going to beat Vernon Forrest. That didn't happen.
Like, I think this is my thing, right? Ryan is the type to where he's extremely dangerous when he sets his feet. I think the style to beat Ryan is to force him to go backwards. Like when he's coming forward against a guy in Haney who likes to stand in the pocket and wait to counter, he could catch him with something. I don't know.
What you think?
I really don't grade Ryan yet, because like he fought Fonseca and he had Fonseca on his back foot, and it's like in the other fights that he fight, I don't see him like actually going the distance. So I don't really rate Ryan yet.
I think Ryan's solid. I'll know more after the Luke Campbell fight, right?
Yeah.
That's a solid fight. That's a solid opponent for you.
Mm-hmm.
So if he does well against Luke Campbell, man, you need to take that kid serious.
Yep, exactly.
I said the same thing. I said if he washes Luke Campbell, he a problem.
I don't rate either Ryan or Haney quite yet.
I rate Haney though. I rate Haney though, because he went to Oxon Hill, Maryland, where I used to live at, and he fought somebody. I don't know who the dude he fought was, but they kind of went the distance. Who was it?
Or it was Mason Menard, was it?
Yeah,
and he fucked that dude up, bro. He fucked him up big time.
I was supporting Devin Haney because we both from the Bay. He from Oakland, I'm from Oakland, but he was raised in San Francisco, so I was supporting him just giving him Bay love. But as a boxing analyst and somebody who really looks at boxing and speaks on it, being fair, I'm not impressed with him as far as boxing wise. I'm just not impressed by it. He hasn't really fought anybody that's really going to make me be like, okay, yes. He hasn't done it yet. And I'm not even going to say with Gamboa that he's a worthy opponent to give him the accolade that he possibly may deserve. I just don't see it yet. And he was also handed the WBC world title. He did not beat anybody for it. He did not fight in any type of bout to win the belt. He literally was handed the belt. So in my sense, he is in all sense a paper champion.
That's true. Look, that's true. And I don't rate him as a champion. I rate him as a prospect, right? This is where I stand on Haney. I think he has a lot of talent. Right. I think he's got a really good jab. He's pretty fast. He's got solid enough power. His feet are decent. He can cross his feet a little bit and get a little bit off balance sometimes, but for the most part, he's good. He's got good punch selection. He's developing well. I mean, I'm not going to say the kid's trash because he's obviously not trash. He's actually pretty decent. It's just
you talking about Ricky Martin, bro? You talking about Ricky Martin, right?
No,
he's talking about Haney. I'm breaking down Haney. Haney's skills.
Okay, my bad. I apologize.
Bro, Ronald over here living the vida loca.
Yeah, I like Ryan, but I like what you're talking about. I'm gonna leave it alone. You're right. Let's just go back to what you're talking about. I apologize. I was thinking about Ricky Martin, but you're talking about Devin Haney. So
yeah, I know Devin's got some. You see, Ryan and Devin are very different. Ryan when I hear people say he doesn't have a jab, it kind of makes me a little bit sad because he does. He just hasn't really used it a lot, right? But he does actually have a solid enough jab. He's got a pretty good double jab, actually. He's got a really good uppercut to the midriff. He knows how to turn off of a guard. So, like the guard, if somebody's high on top of him, he knows how to turn that and check them, leaving them square. So he's got good intangibles himself. Pardon the pun.
Ha ha ha.
But yeah, no, they're both good. They're both good prospects. They are prospects, man. That's what they are. I mean, I know people will be like, no, Devin's a champ. He's a
prospect elite. They are prospects elite unrivaled. It's crazy like how we know who they are, but they prospect elites only. Like we gotta see them in real fights, bro.
Yeah, we do.
Well, let me. I'm gonna let you put you down, Ryan. I'm gonna put this other. I got somebody in the back that want to slide in. They be hitting my.
I'll go back in the chat. I appreciate you letting me on.
For sure, bro. But anyway, so also, I think Devin Haney needs to fight somebody that's like who after Gamboa? Who do you think Haney should fight after Gamboa? Because obviously, I mean, I'm already picking him to beat Gamboa. No disrespect to you, Gamboa. I love you, appreciate you, what you done for boxing. Mwah. Beautiful. But I got Haney beating Gamboa. Easy work. I think he gonna beat him a lot easier than he gonna make it look better than Tank. And who you think he'll fight after Gamboa? Who you got after Gamboa for Haney?
Honestly,
Well, it depends. Go ahead, Antonio. Go ahead.
Okay. Excuse me if I cut you off, but yeah, I saw that. I think Teofimo is looking to possibly fight him, but I think that it is going to be a bit too. I think that that's a bit too soon for Haney in terms of his development. Like, I think Teofimo would probably just overpower him at this point. Ideally, the right opponent, I think, for Devin Haney, like at this point, like after a Gamboa fight, I think it'd be like a To-Go or possibly a Linares or someone like that. Or possibly Ryan. I don't know. But somebody in the top 10, I'd just say. Like somebody within that 4 to 10 region. Even Richard Comey would be a good opponent.
I was just going to say Comey. That was my guy.
I'll tell you what I think, and y'all will be surprised about what I think. I think if Devin beats Gamboa, which I believe he will, and if I think Teofimo's going to move up to 140 and the belts are going to go vacant, I think he should petition as a WBC champion to fight the winner of Lee Selby and Kambosos this weekend for the vacant IBF. That's what I think he should do, because that's a final eliminator for the IBF. So then he would fight either Lee Selby or George Kambosos, both solid fighters. I think it'd be good for his development.
What's up, Kai? Welcome to the panel. Well, I think he should fight Comey. I think Comey is a decent opponent, somebody that has respectable power, somebody that Haney would have to respect. He can't just go in there and just overpower this dude like that. And if he does, it would show a lot about him, but you got to actually have some sense of respect going at a guy like Comey, just like you would have to have respect going at a guy like forgot his name, can't remember. We were just talking about him on Rival. He fought Triple G. I can't remember his name. Tip of my tongue.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What are you talking about?
So on the tip of my tongue. The guy that fought Triple G.
Steve Rolls.
No, not Steve Rose. He got him. He got the little mohawk cut.
Lemieux.
No, who?
Lemieux.
Yes, David Lemieux. Thank you. You can never underestimate a guy like that. I don't care how good you are. That guy can easily catch you with one shot, and it's still gonna be good night. You can't go in there stupid. So I feel like Comey is that guy. Like, you can't go in there stupid because he can still catch you with something and put you on your ass. So I would say Comey. Yeah.
I don't rate Lemieux very highly, you know. But when it comes to Comey, yeah, it absolutely does pose somewhat of a threat.
Yeah, I was saying threat-wise. Yeah, that's what I was saying more so.
He's got a powerful...
What's up, Boxing Source?
Shout out to God.
With your interview with Otto Wallin, I'm glad you slid on because you did an interview with Otto Wallin and I was watching it and you kept losing your signal. I was getting irritated.
Yeah, man. That was like my internet was tripping like a mofo, man. I was like, God damn, boy.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my boy Boxing Source, man. He just did an interview with Otto Wallin today, actually. So, how did it? What can you share with us that about that interview?
I mean, like he, kind of like went into, his time when he had COVID before he was preparing for his fight against Travis Kaufman. So that was a little bit of an experience for him and his mother, because his mother caught COVID too at the same time. So, there was that part where he talked about that. And, also, get himself, acclimated to being in New York City, because he's, moved from Sweden to New York City. So it's a definite culture shock for him, but it kind of gets him, better prepared to go against some fighters, because he gets a lot of sparring in with a lot of fighters coming into New York City. So he really doesn't have to go anywhere to get some good work in.
Okay. Who I didn't get to see the whole thing. I saw like the good first 10, 20 minutes. Who do you think is going to be his next opponent? Who's the next opponent supposed to be for Otto Wallin?
I That's going to be a good question because I threw out like a good number of guys out there, like Robert Helenius or someone like Charles Martin maybe,
Do you know?
because
Do you know who was actually signed to fight him? Who was signed to fight him, and he said this himself. But because of everything happening with the pandemic, money didn't oblige and things locked down. Lucas Brown was meant to fight him.
Lucas Brown. Okay.
Lucas Brown, yeah.
Okay.
So that was something, but he did mention like he wants to be put in to fight Deontay Wilder if Patrick Henry goes forward in moving on and fighting someone in December. So he would like to go up against Deontay Wilder, or at least try to put himself in a position against a former champion, so that he does get himself in the rankings once again, because he is like not necessarily in heavyweight rankings with the exception of the IBF that I see right now. So I see him trying to get back into that type of route to get a title shot once again, and hopefully he'll be able to work himself into that.
Yo, I would like to see. I think Otto Wallin versus Ajit Cabello would be a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a real good one.
That was a fight that they were talking about a good while ago when Cabello was the EBU heavyweight champion and Otto Wallin was the EBU external, which meant Cabello. It's essentially the interim.
Yeah,
right?
I just want to say that.
Yeah, it's the interim for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about. And they were going to have a fight, and then Cabello he ended up not being well for a little bit, and then Wallin he ended up getting the shot with Tyson Fury. So that's the whole reason that didn't happen. But that's a fight we should run. That's a fight we definitely should run. That's a fight I was looking forward to. It was one of my most anticipated heavyweight fights that year.
Wow. Who do you think is this upcoming weekend? Who do you think is most likely to have an upset? Do you think it would be Derek Chisora or Leo Santa Cruz?
Oh, is that the question from Phone Jack?
Yeah, he says who?
Yeah, he has Leo Santa Cruz, Jason Maloney, or Derek Chisora. I reckon, weirdly enough, if anyone's getting the upset win this weekend, I reckon it'll be Del Boy.
I agree with that.
Ooh. I reckon if anyone's getting it, it's Del Boy, just because Del Boy is so aggressive, so heavy. If he can get on top of Usyk and pin him down, he can beat the shit out of him. He really can.
And like he does have fast starts too. He really he's very aggressive in the the early parts of the fight. So if Usyk is not really looking for that, then he can get caught a good few times. And
I see it like this. He's the only one out of those three people with any serious puncher's chance. Like Leo Santa Cruz does not have a puncher's chance. Jason Maloney, nor does he. And Jason Maloney's his entire style is completely catered to Inoue. Like his style is literally to get inside, to work the body, work the head. He's gonna have to walk through fire to be able to beat Inoue. That's not happening.
He's going in there and he's gonna he may look to box a bit, but he's never really shown that. He's gonna go in there eventually at some stage in that fight, go into that pocket, and he's going to get ripped to the body and ripped. He's just going to get stopped. I like Jason Maloney. Nice kid. Good guy. Really nice guy. He's a genuinely nice guy. But I got to say, he's one of those people who's a genuinely nice person. He's getting absolutely battered, mate.
Like, you're a good guy. But you're getting your ass whipped.
Yeah.
You got to be honest. There's levels to this. This dude lost a points decision to Emmanuel Rodriguez. Inoue killed Rodriguez, and Rodriguez is better than Maloney at keeping away from you.
Yeah. Inoue got good ring IQ. He not gonna fight stupid.
I think the fight may go. I think the fight will go 4 or 5 rounds because Jason Maloney is going to try. I think Maloney is smart enough to probably use some footwork early on. he's going to have a respect for Inoue. I think Inoue will maybe start off a little bit circumspect and slow because of the fact that he's been on the layoff. I don't see it going past 5-6 rounds.
I'll give you if you're looking for any fight to be an upset this weekend, right? That could surprise some people who pay attention to the prospect scene. Rashidi Ellis could lose to Alexis Rojas.
Oh
That is
man,
possible. That's actually more likely.
Alexis Rojas coming off of a very good dominant performance over Brad Solomon.
yeah, it's been a good little bit since Ellis has been in the ring. So
Yeah.
I'm not all that sold on Ellis, to be honest.
And Roja looks pretty good. Another one where I wouldn't say it'll be an upset, but there could be one. Is Elvin Soto's fighting a very good fighter this weekend who's very underrated. Been in there with CP Freshmark.
Carlos Buitrago.
Yeah, been there with CP Freshmark, Koyaguchi. I thought he beat McWilliams Arroyo, to be honest with you. I thought he won that fight. He dropped him twice in the last round as well. And he's only lost to Arroyo, Koyaguchi, Freshmark, I think, twice, and Angel Acosta. If I recall.
Yeah, Angel Acosta.
Yeah, the kid's a very good fighter though. Very strong, durable, comes forward, throws punches really well. I mean, that's not going to be an easy night. So if there's going to be an upset, maybe there. And he's like 17-2 as well. You know, it's 8.5 to 1. That's crazy.
Yeah. I do think that at this point in Carlos Buitrago's career, he's probably a bit past his prime. He's coming off of multiple losses, or at least against any type of top opponents. I think Soto should overpower him, but I mean, Buitrago's he's gonna do some stuff in there. He's good,
very good actually. And I mean, I know we're talking about like this stage of his career. He's not ancient, mate. He's only 28. Like he is only 28. Yeah, he had that. He's coming off of some losses, like in 2018. Yeah, he got stopped in the final round by Angel Acosta, right? Soto don't punch as hard as Angel. He's coming off of a decision loss to McWilliams Arroyo that I literally just said I thought he won. And a lot of people who watched the fight thought he beat Arroyo, mate. A lot of people did. A lot of people. I think I on the ring after the first week where people post their scorecards, it was 81% in favor of Buitrago.
Nice. What do you say the win does for either fighter in a Usyk and Chisora? What does it do for Usyk, and what does a win do for Chisora? I'm gonna start with you, Boxing Source. What does a win do for either fighter?
well, for Alexander Usyk, it just keeps him in that spot to go after the WBO champion, which is currently Anthony Joshua. So he's been talking about having that WBO mandatory since moving up as the former undisputed cruiserweight champion. But for Chisora, it would be a huge win for him. Beats him back in the heavyweight scene. Of course, he's been competitive in, a lot of fights that he's had. But when it's been like step-up fights, he has come up short in, pretty much every step-up fight that he's had. So this would be like the first one in a long time where he's been able to, get a win of that caliber. So that puts him right back into the heavyweight race, being a top-rated contender, and probably kind of like puts him around that top 15 or 10 in the heavyweight division.
All right, Unrival, what does the win do for Chisora, and what does the win do for Usyk?
Well, a win for Usyk keeps him where he is, the mandatory for the WBO. It gives people more of a gauge to see where he is in the heavyweight division. And it depends on how he wins, obviously. If he does it in dominant fashion, people got to be impressed. For Derek, if he wins, he becomes the mandatory for Anthony Joshua. That's what it does for him. And that's a big thing, because I'll tell you right now, Derek Chisora versus Anthony Joshua, with Derek coming off of Usyk,
big,
would be a very big fight in England. Because Derek's got a big fan base.
Yeah,
he does. If he's coming off of it, let's say if he wins, he's winning by stoppage, right? He's winning by stoppage, right? So if he wins and he knocks out Usyk, people are going with the way he's been performing, how he comes forward, how aggressive he is. People can automatically draw comparisons to the way Takam was able to push Anthony Joshua back, get up and under, cause him issues, even though Joshua won the fight comfortably. They'll be like, well, Derek also beat Takam too, and he knocked him out. Whereas Joshua got a very helpful referee stoppage. You know what I mean? The people will start to dig into all of that stuff massively and go crazy with it. So that's what it would do for Derek. It would be like, that'd be Derek's retirement fund set. If he beats Usyk, he's retiring on the highest note of his career, right? If Usyk wins, he's going to stick in that WBO mandatory. Maybe he fights Joshua, maybe he fights for the vacant WBO, one or the other.
Tangible.
Yeah. So if Chisora wins, I pretty much just co-signed what Mark said. If Chisora wins, he could possibly go for a Joshua fight. Well, probably will go for a Joshua fight, considering he'd be the WBO mandatory at that point. He'd be the number one ranked guy. And if Usyk wins, I mean, he pretty much, I don't know. You know, if Usyk wins in impressive fashion, like he dominates, outboxes him, I think his sort of status as a heavyweight fighter, his credibility as a heavyweight boxer will, of course, trend upwards, because Chisora is a very tough guy. I think he's an improved fighter. Chisora, also, I wouldn't be surprised if Usyk is given some problems and loses rounds, because, I mean, Chisora was beating Dillian White twice, in my opinion. So, I don't know. I got Usyk winning on points, like a 9-3 type of a fight. I think Chisora won some rounds early.
Okay. All right, final question, fellas. Pound for pound. It's an issue with the pound for pound list. A lot of people do not agree that Teofimo should be anywhere on it, let alone number 4 on the pound for pound list. How do you feel about the fact that Teofimo beat arguably number 1 pound for pound fighter? Do you think he deserves to be on the pound for pound list, or you think he doesn't deserve to be on the pound for pound list? We'll start with you, Intangible.
Where does he belong on the pound for pound list? He beat Loma. And look, I don't want to hear, people are going to try to say, he's too big, too strong for Loma, so therefore he should not be on the pound for pound list. Like, look, people got to stop making excuses about Loma being small for the lightweight division. He was a 3-belt unified champion and a ring champion. He was the pretty much unanimous number 1 lightweight in the world. And Teofimo beat him against all odds. Most people expected Loma to win, and most people expected that regardless of the size disadvantage, that Loma was just going to beat him on skills. So clearly it required Teofimo to have the skills to beat him, even with the size advantage. In my opinion, he is the number, I can't remember if he was my number 6 or number 5. I think he was my number 6 on the pound for pound list. But I think he does deserve to be on there. A Loma win. Look, Comey is a legitimate champion. Very good fighter, very powerful. A lot of people picked Richard Comey to win, and most people picked Loma to beat Teofimo. Teofimo has just beat 2 guys in closely, hotly contested matchups. I think he deserves to be on the list, to be honest.
Rival, what'd you think? Do you think he deserves to be on the pound for pound list just based on just beating Lomachenko?
Well, he didn't just beat Lomachenko. He's beaten 2 champions back to back. The IBF, and now he's a lineal champion. Let's look at it this way. Teofimo has beaten the same amount of active champions that Errol Spence has, and he's won more belts.
Can you repeat that, please, for the public?
Teofimo's beaten the same amount of active champions that Errol Spence has, but he's got more belts. So those are people holding current titles. Errol beat Kelbrook, Sean Porter. Teofimo beat Comey and Lomachenko. Neither Porter or Kelbrook, when Spence fought them, was recognized as number 1 in the division. But when Teofimo fought Lomachenko, Loma was recognized as number 1 in the division and inside the top 10 pound for pound. And was holding a title. So yeah, he should be. I mean, I did an entire survey, you can go check it out, asking 18 content creators on YouTube, 18, to give me pound for pound lists, and then I would average out all of the points. And Teofimo came in fourth place overall on points, pound for pound.
Hmm.
What he's done, like, depends on your criteria. Do you rate it on career? Do you rate it on the last 4 years? Do you rate it on the last 2 years? I'll just put it out there. In the last 18 months, tell me one fighter who's done more than Teofimo.
You said in the last what?
18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Tell
Canelo.
me. Well, in the last 18 months, Canelo's done what? Beat Danny Jacobs and Kovalev?
Became a 3-belt unified champion, then moved up and became a champion and ended 2 weight classes up. That's comparable.
Wait, what month was the Jacobs fight?
60.
Yeah.
No, what month?
Oh, what
May.
month?
Yeah, when was that?
Yeah, that's the May 2019.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's a little over 18 months, I think. Yeah.
little less than 18 months. Little less, right?
Less
So,
than-
wait, no. Was it 2018? May 2018? Or
No, 2019.
Yeah, I was going to say. If it's 2019, come December, Canelo's not going to fight. Which means in the last 18 months from that point onwards, Teofimo would have done more than Canelo.
And even still with that, Teofimo has, in a sense, you can match up the stuff that he's done. He's done the same amount of work as arguably the number 1 pound for pound fighter in boxing.
Exactly. That's who you're comparing them to here. The number 1.
So I mean, come on now. So, but that was my argument, was that. But
Yeah.
boxing scores, what do you think about Teofimo and a lot of naysayers saying that he does not deserve? Some people say he deserves to be on there. They just don't feel he deserves to be as high as maybe Lomachenko was. Even though I came from a time where if you beat the man, you was the man. It didn't matter. If you beat the number 4 pound for pound, you was number 4 pound for pound. If you beat the number 1 guy pound for pound, you was number 1 pound for pound. But that's
Shane Mosley.
Yeah, that's not the era we live in. So, what do you think pertaining to Teofimo being on the pound for pound?
Well, following what Unrivaled said, I did turn in a pound for pound list to Unrivaled, which does have Teofimo Lopez included on the list. But to go through what he was saying in reference to like the past 18 months or so, right? I'm gonna see if I can go through this real quick. From May 2018 to now, Teofimo Lopez's records were as follows: 14-1, 25-1, 34-3, 31-2, 31-2, 18-0, 29-2, and then 14-1.
Well, that's not 18 at all. That's not the last 18 months. That's the last 30 months.
Yeah, like like 30 months or so. Pretty much like pretty much like 30 months or so. But
let's look at it like this. His last year's been 2 champions, fam.
Yeah. Like the first defense of the IBF lightweight title is against the number 1 guy in the lightweight division. Even though I think Teofimo to win, it's still, it's still the number 1 guy in the lightweight division. So you can't like take him or not have him on the list when he's already beat someone that's the number 1 lightweight and was a top pound for pound fighter for a good amount of years. So you can't deny him for being on the pound for pound list.
And Loma's still in the history books. He still is tied for the fastest person to get to a world title in boxing history. He's still in the history book.
Right. So you definitely got to have Teofimo on the pound for pound list.
What do you mean? What history books? I didn't catch that.
Oh, Lomachenko is tied for the fastest person to win a world title.
Yes, he's also tied for the fastest 3-weight world champion and the amount of fights before Intangible pulls me on months.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Intangible, he fact checking.
That's not fact checking. That's nitpicking.
I know. But yeah, I really feel like the fact that I was hearing over the past like week, Tiafimo, he's either don't deserve to be on the pound for pound, or he don't deserve to be as high on the pound for pound list, and all those type of things. And most of the people that are saying that, they just hate. They just really are really Loma fans, and they just hate the fact that Loma lost and all that stuff. But,
Look, let me do this, right? I've got 18 top 15 pound for pound lists right here, yeah? 18 of them, right? Tiafimo on one list came in 4th, on another list came in 8th, on another list came in 7th, on another list came in 6th, on another list he came in 4th, on another list he came in 5th, on another list he came in at 9th, in another list he came in 5th, in another list... Do you see what I'm talking about?
yeah.
In another list, he came in 5th again. Another list here, he came in 5th, which was intangibles. On another list, he came in 9th. This list, he wasn't on. This list, he was in 10th. This list, 5th. This list right here, he was 6th. He's also on this list here at 10th place, right? And on this list, he was 9th place, right? And on another list,
If you went out on rival.
and then on that list, he was on 12th, right? So in 18 lists, he wasn't on 1, and the lowest place he finished in any top 15 was 12th. And then for 17 other lists, he was inside the top 10. Or 16 other lists, he was inside the top 10. What does that tell you?
He's pound for pound fighter. That's what it tells me, man. Put the man on the list, man. A lot of y'all fans, y'all fucking sensitive, and y'all get mad when your fighter that you hype up so much when they lose. It's a part of the game. That's why they have the little thing called W's, L, and D's. Wins, losses, and draws. That's a part of the game. Okay, you win some, you lose some, and you might go break even with a couple cats, but you live to fight another day. It's all right. It's no big deal. Let it go. Fighters lose. It happens. Okay. You know how hurt I was when Roy Jones lost? You know how hurt I was?
How bad? How bad were you hurt?
You and Ricky Hatton. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
You
I
were
was
hurt.
hurt. That's all I'm gonna say with that. Mark know what I'm talking about. But that's really how it is, though. Y'all get too emotional about these fighters. Y'all too emotionally attached to these fighters, and it's ridiculous. When you're going to lose eventually when you fight when you keep fighting top dude after top dude after top dude after top dude, you're gonna lose eventually.
Boom, right? A lot of people instantly go and they say, you know what? I'm gonna put Beterbiev on my pound for pound list, right? Because of how dominant and whatever. He's beaten one champion in his career who was an active champion at the time in Bostick, right? One. People go and they put Golovkin on there. Golovkin's beaten Danny Jacobs and David Lemieux. They're the only 2 champions he's beaten in his career who are active at time of beating him. Officially. Golovkin, who's had an entire career, over 40 fights. This kid's has done equal to that. In 16.
And Beterbiev's second best win is against a guy coming off of losing to an old Hopkins, getting literally murdered by Adonis Stevenson in Cloud.
I don't think that's his second best win. Just because of where Cloud was at the time. I think the Enrico Collins is second best win, mate.
Yeah, probably.
So, I got one more question. Do you think that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder 3 is going to happen in May of 2021? Or do you think that Wilder is all the way done? That fight is just not going to happen, and we're going to see Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury in May of 2021? I'm going to start off with you on Rival.
I don't know about if we're going to get Joshua Fury in May 2021, but I'll tell you one thing. Get the fork out. There you go.
That's a very... What do you think, Intangible?
I don't know.
What you think, Boxing Source?
I'm rolling with Mark, man. given what Wilder has been, of course, we've had an extended history about talking about Deontay Wilder, but in reference to his confidence, to have all this stuff, the activity happen over the past 6 weeks or so, and not hear one word from him says a lot. Especially with the last part about what Tyson Fury was, deciding to do in the month of December, and you didn't hear anything immediately from Deontay Wilder. That says a lot, given his confidence, given his bravado, given his is to be out there in the social media world or in the boxing world. That he doesn't say anything, that just says a lot. So, yeah, I think that he's pretty much out of commission. Going off of what Unrivaled has said, I feel that he won't be back, man.
Yep. I said that shit. You ain't got that. You already know my answer. That motherfucker done. It's over. The fork is in him. The fork been in him. He done. He burnt out. It's over. Call it grace. That's where I'm at with Wilder. I feel like if he was going to make something happen, he would have been made something happen by now. Honestly, I really do.
Yeah.
But it's not happening.
I mean, think about it. Look at how he reacted to when Tyson Fury decided to sign with Top Rank instead of having the immediate rematch. And compare that to now.
Have a point. Well, in closing, that's my time for today, man. Intangible, you got any closing thoughts before I get up out of here? My baby's on their way.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Have a good one.
You too, bro. God bless you. Unrivaled, any closing thoughts before I get up out of here?
Stay blessed. Enjoy the weekend. Stay happy. Thanks for having me on, man.
Always a pleasure, bro. Thank you. God bless you, Unrivaled. If you haven't subscribed, take your ass over there. Subscribe to Unrivaled Boxing Talk News. Asapolis. And my homeboy, my other brother, my new brother from another mother, Boxer Source. Closing thoughts, man, before we get up out of here.
Lots of boxing action this weekend. Peace to DT3 and the NBBC. And I will catch y'all later, man.
For sure, man. And we out.